Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Average Alex on YouTube. I am Alex. Today we are starting pretty early. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, but I have a lot to do today as for my dinner tonight. I'm very excited. I am going to make homemade meatball subs. I'm going to make some salad, and I'm also going to try my hand at a Oreo no-bake cheesecake. I've never made homemade meatballs. I've never made cheesecake. I'm excited in general just to give these a shot, and here we go. So first thing we're gonna do per the instructions is we got to make the crust for the no-bake cheesecake. The instructions say to take 24 Oreos, separate the filling into a bowl, and put the toppings, the top and bottom, the non-cream, I guess, into a processor. So good thing about any dessert with Oreo in it, my kids love Oreo. I don't know how in the world I can mess up an Oreo dessert, even if it's not the texture it needs to be. They're gonna eat it. And as far as the meatball subs that I've never made homemade meatballs before, we can order pizza, so I'm not really worried about messing up dinner. I never worry about messing up dinner. We live somewhere where you can have pizza ordered 24/7. We got TV dinners in the freezer. I like to try new stuff. It's not always a win, but if you don't try new things, then you're gonna be making the same, 5, 6, 7 things every night for dinner. Then dinner just becomes kind of a pain, kind of boring, kind of a duty, a chore, if you will, instead of something you really enjoy. So I really like to mix it up, try new things, and get feedback from the family. I'm gonna actually separate 24 before I lose count, and then who knows how much will be in here. Typically when I make food, I consider the recipe just kind of a suggestion. I change up stuff that I put in my food and based on my own taste. And after you make it so much, you just kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, I don't need this much salt, or I need a little more garlic, or whatever the case may be. But the first time, the first time I make something, I pretty much stick to the recipe because I have no idea what I'm getting into. So it's no time to be courageous and start showing off. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other 24 of these, and I'll be right back. So I have taken all 24 Oreos, I took the filling out, I put it in this big bowl because it said to save for later. And then I've got the crumbles here, and it says to go ahead and make them really, really fine. This is a handheld processor where you just have a cord that you pull. I really like it. I have a smaller version of this that I use in all my videos when I'm doing stuff, and I'll be using it later when I go ahead and do my salad and whatnot. But for this, I needed to use the big boy here. So go ahead and make those real fine, and then it says to combine this with 6 tablespoons of melted butter. So I got butter in here. I'm gonna go ahead and melt that real quick. Find myself a bowl. I got a spatula and a fork as well, because I'm sure I'm gonna need those. So never having made this before, I have no idea what to expect. It's got Oreos in it, it's cheesecake, can't be that bad. All right. So we have the Oreo crumbles here, looks good. I just use a spatula to get everything out. I don't like to waste food in there. And then we've got melted butter. I just melted the 6 tablespoons in the microwave. You could have done it on the stove if you chose to. And then you're supposed to mix that up. And apparently the amount of butter is very, very important. It says if you make too much, the crust isn't going to be any good, and too little and it'll fall apart. So I guess there's like a finite, version, and that's another part of recipes. Maybe my version's going to be 7 tablespoons instead of 6 or 5. You don't know. So first time I've done this, I'm gonna follow the rules. I'm gonna follow the recipe to a T. Make mental notes. Get feedback from my family at the end of the day, and I'll make adjustments the next time I make it. So once you get the crust done, you're gonna put it into a pan. Again, take that spatula and get everything out of there. Right. Now it says to line the bottom of the pan and kind of smush it down a little bit because you want it to take some shape. Right. Now I read somewhere that you can take a bottom of a glass to help push it down. So, let's see what we got here. I love these glasses. I got these for running a 5K like 2 years ago from a place called Brewdog's down the street. Brewdog's is amazing. Great beer. Great environment too. So anyway, I'm just taking this cup and I'm just pushing down ever so gently on this crust to make sure we got a nice base, right? And that's what I came up with right there. So I'm gonna take this crust and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for probably 4 to 5 hours. Okay, so I put the Oreo crust in the refrigerator to chill. We are now gonna start making the filling. Then we'll put the filling on the crust and put it back in the refrigerator until we're ready to eat it tonight. So it can get nice and chilled. It's at 4 to 6 hours. It'll actually probably be in there more like 7 or 8 hours. So it should get nice and chilled by then. So while you were gone, I did do a couple things. I put the Oreo filling that was in this bowl into a smaller bowl, so I could use this bowl for the next part of this. So we're gonna take cream cheese. I got Philadelphia cream cheese because that's what I like. And we're gonna put 16 ounces of it into this bowl. So that's 2 boxes. So we're gonna put the cream cheese in here. I've worked with cream cheese a lot, so I'm not exactly sure if it's easy to work with or hard to work with. Not really been part of my recipes that I've picked in the past. That's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the way it's all worked out. So we're gonna put 2 packs of cream cheese in here. There's 1. And we'll do 2. I'm excited about this. I mean, I know I've never made it before, and there's probably a good chance that it's not gonna turn out like, 100% like it's supposed to, but it's part of the fun of learning how to cook. If you only make things you know how to make, you're only gonna eat the same stuff all the time. So I'd rather make this. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, then I'll know I got another thing I can put in the repertoire to make the next time I'm cooking. I cook a lot, so I like to shake it up as much as possible. I probably cook 3 or 4 days a week, so Now it may not seem like a ton because there's 7 days in a week, but you know, I also work. So 3 days, 4 days a week of cooking. Then my wife does a couple days of cooking, and we all make some really good stuff. So the kids are pretty lucky in that aspect. So, all right, so the instructions say that we should take a hand mixer, mix up this cream cheese so it's nice and light and fluffy. So I'm probably gonna do that like on a medium. Yeah. And we'll just get the mix in here. Don't want to go too overboard. You don't want it flying all around your kitchen, right? And just kind of keep working it in there until it's nice. I don't exactly know what light and fluffy means, but I'm sure that I can figure that out. I didn't go to culinary school. This is not something I do by trade. I didn't really learn how to cook growing up, so I got into the food business when I was younger. I worked around a lot of talented chefs and just became excited about cooking. And now that I'm lucky enough to have a job where I have some time, cooking's become kind of a passion and something that I've always wanted to do more of. I never thought I'd start a YouTube page about it. That's okay. So I'm trying to get some of this off of my stuff there. Oh, we got an extra bowl. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to define this as light and fluffy, even though I have no idea if it is. And we are going to add in sugar, vanilla, and the cookie filling. So the cookie filling from before, regular sugar, I think it called for half a cup. I already separated that out. And then vanilla, I wanted a teaspoon of it. Vanilla's so strong, I mean a little bit goes a long way. So I'm not surprised it's only a teaspoon. I only had a half teaspoon measuring cup laying around, so I'm using that. And we are going to go ahead and mix all this together. It's going to be interesting to see this all come together. Like I said, I've never done this before, so it's light and fluffy, and I think we have to do peaks of something here in a minute. I'm not 100% sure what all that means. Part of the learning process is just to kind of go with the flow and see what happens, you know. Make mental notes of what went good and what went bad. And go from there. Okay, so that is done. Now in another separate bowl, we are going to take some more ingredients and mix it together. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean off these real quick. Okay, so for part 2 of this, we're just gonna take our heavy whipping cream, we're gonna put it in a different bowl. I'm gonna get a spatula to get all that out of there. And it says to go ahead and beat this until it thickens. I'm not gonna go too hard on it because I don't know. I'm just worried about making a big mess in my house, to be honest with you. Doesn't really give a time frame on how long this could take to thicken up, but it says it's going to thicken up. I believe it, so we're just going to kind of keep beating it until it does. I've used heavy whipping cream a lot, and I do a loaded baked potato soup that's on the website, or on my channel. I keep saying website. But I do a loaded baked potato soup that uses heavy whipping cream. It's amazing. It's really a family favorite. I don't know how much I'll make it now that the summer's sitting, but as far as just in general, it's a winner. And I just started making that like, I don't know, a couple years ago maybe. But really good. All right, so it's thickened up a little bit. I don't know how much it's supposed to thicken up, but it's definitely began to thicken up. So it says to now add the convection sugar, or the powdered sugar as I like to call it. So 1.5 cups. And it says to go ahead and beat this until you get like peaks. So we'll go ahead and start this up. It says until you get some peaks. I kind of know what that means just because I watch the food channel a lot with my wife. So I have a basic idea of what they're looking for consistency-wise. I don't know how long that takes, really. But while I'm doing this, I really want to give a shout out to my buddy Kevin with Tupperware.com. These bowls that I've been using, spatula, the handheld processor that I used earlier, and just countless other things that I use every day in my kitchen. I got from Tupperware.com. When I was selling it, I really enjoyed it. I did stop for a little bit. I got some stuff going on, and I don't need that. I just don't want to do that right now. But if you have any desire to get any of this, send me a message, comment below. I'll get you with Kevin. He'll take care of you. If it's something you think you might want to sell too, let me know. Great company, great people. And hopefully before too long, I'll be back over there. I don't think we have peaks yet, but we're getting there, and it's definitely thickening up. I like the consistency of it right now. I'll tell you that. My kitchen has not been this messy in a long time. I really like clean as I go, but since I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just kind of going with it, and I'll take care of the rest at the end, I guess. So let's see here. So I said earlier, the menu tonight, homemade meatball subs. I'm going to make the meatballs here with the recipe I got offline. Never done that before. I usually get a bag of meatballs, throw it in the oven for 20 minutes, but find something new. Gonna make a salad to go with that, and then this for dessert. So it should be a really nice overall meal. If you were with me yesterday, I made a chicken and red potato meal in the crock pot. It was really good. It was simple. It's potatoes, chicken, peas, cooked for like 6 hours. Could have probably done it like a little bit less than 6 hours, but I was running around. 5.5 probably would have been fine. And I just threw some bread, some vegetables on it, and boom, I was done. That was great. Ended up sitting down watching a movie with my kids last night, having a couple snacks, and I really enjoy the time with the family. As much as I can spend with them, I do. I really like cooking for them because I like to see that they're happy and that they're eating well. And yeah, all right. I think we got a little bit more here. so we're gonna take this, I'm gonna call that done. I hope it is. And we're gonna take our cream cheese filling that we just got done doing, and it says to fold 2 cups of this into here. So basically, fold is pretty much what it means. We're gonna put 2 cups of this in the filling, and we're not gonna mix it or beat it or anything. We're just gonna we're gonna fold it around with our spatula. So there's 1 cup. Then anything we don't use, we're gonna use apparently to garnish and decorate this when we are done. So that'll be fun. I'll put all this in the fridge and whip it back out later. All right, so there's 2 cups of that, and it said half of your crushed Oreos. So there's that. So we're gonna take this and we're just gonna literally fold over. So you're just taking it with your spatula, you're not mixing, you're not stirring, you're just kind of folding it. And folding it just means you're just turning your spatula, right? And you're just gonna keep doing that. And then we're gonna go get the crust out of the fridge. And we're gonna put this on it. And we're gonna let it sit until dinner time. And I'm gonna bring it out and garnish it up and give it a try. So let me go grab the crust. All right, guys, so we got the crust back. I'll put that off to the side here. And we're just gonna pour it in. It says, as evenly as possible. It's kind of hard to do as I'm pouring it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a small spatula, I think, and then just kind of even it out as it's in there. Again, and I can't say this enough, you got to go outside of your comfort zone. You can't only make what you're good at, or you'll never make anything new. And I think making stuff new is what makes cooking great. So I'm gonna take a small spatula here, get rid of this big one. Before my wife and I got a little busy here lately, we were taking cooking classes at a Sur La Table. I'm sure there's multiple locations of it. It's great. It's up by the mall where we're at. And they do like couples date nights, and you can cook together, and whatever you cook, you actually eat. So you make an appetizer and eat the appetizer while you're making the entree, and then eat the entree while you're making the dessert. And you can bring, you can bring wine, you can bring beer if you're into it or whatever, and just have a drink and cook together. And anything that we can do together, so much fun to just have those memories. So let me show you what this looks like real quick. All right, guys, that's what it's gonna look like going into the refrigerator. It's about 10 o'clock. I'm gonna pull this out again at probably like 4-ish, 4:30 maybe. So it's gonna sit for at least 6 hours. So it should be pretty good. I'm excited about it. All right, so I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna come back and start on my salad. So I will be back in a moment. All right, everybody, we're back. It's been about 6 hours since I put the pie in the refrigerator. I am gonna go ahead and decorate that here in a minute, but I am topping off my salad for this evening. So I'm gonna finish this up, and then we'll go ahead and do the dessert. So no matter if I'm having spaghetti, if I'm having meatball subs, if I'm having anything Italian, I'm gonna have a salad with it. So I went ahead and cut up some cucumbers and some celery, drained some black olives and some beans. I'm gonna put this all together so my family can have a salad with their meatball subs this evening. It's not the best time right now for salad as far as like time of the year, season, etc. But I was able to find a head of lettuce that looked pretty good. So I'm gonna make this up real quick. It's really good. I cut it up earlier before I got the kids from school. So now that all I have to do is take it out of the bag, put it out, and then after everyone's done eating, I'll use the same bags to put everything back away. And more than likely, we will eat this again tomorrow because I'm not gonna eat that all in one day anyway, so. Let's see here. All right. So I got cucumbers, black olives, celery, onions, peppers, and I like kidney beans on mine. Some people like pinto beans. People don't like any beans, but there we go. So there you have it. A little salad. Not a big deal, but nice for the family to have. So I'll put that out and they can munch on that before the meatball subs. All right, so I'm excited and I am nervous all at the same time because I have got the cake, the cheesecake out of the refrigerator. It's not quite time to eat it, but it is time to decorate it. But I do want to taste the filling, so I'm gonna have a little bit. That's pretty good. All right, so per the instructions, so the instructions simply said to take the leftover whipped cream mix that we made, the leftover Oreos, and some hot fudge and decorate our cake. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm very, very nervous that this isn't gonna turn out right. So nervous, in fact, that I bought a backup cake from Kroger. I think the first time I make anything, I have a little bit of nerves that it's not gonna turn out right. But I think that's kind of half the fun. I have definitely ruined some meals, and I've made some good ones. So it's always a risk you take. But luckily I've got some family that's a pretty good sport about it and tries what I make. So we're gonna do that. All right. Okay, so that's in. And we're gonna take some of these Oreos here. Decorate them up here. I'll leave those in case anybody wants to add some to it later. Oh, and then hot fudge. And I'll definitely leave the hot fudge for later, in case anybody wants some. So this is really thick. It doesn't say anything about like melting it or anything, but it's really hard to deal with the way it is. I think I'm going to put some of this in a bowl and melt it down a little bit. See how it works, you know. Like I said, some of the stuff you just have to try and see what happens. So I'm gonna put 3 spoonfuls here in. I almost put that in my cover because I was thinking about getting a toothpick. Because you can take the toothpick and kind of twirl around your top of your dessert and give it a little bit of a design, I guess. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So just take a fork here, and I'm just gonna take a fork and just kind of drizzle this all over the place. No rhyme or reason. Okay. All right. So now here's what we got. I don't like that clump right there, so what I'm gonna do is take a toothpick and just kind of move everything around a little bit. So that's what toothpicks are for. That's why I grabbed it out of the cupboard. You can just kind of mess up the top a little bit. So I'm gonna put this back in the oven, or back in the refrigerator for probably about 3 more hours, and then we will eat it, and I'll cut a piece and I'll tell you guys how it is. I am gonna start making the meatballs and getting these in the oven, right? So I'm tripling the recipe that I'm gonna put on the actual website. And the reason why I am tripling the recipe is because A, there's 5 of us that live here. So that's a lot of people. And secondly, we are going to have leftover spaghetti on Thursday, which is like in 2 days. So whatever meatballs are left from the meatball subs, we can use for the spaghetti on Thursday. So it's kind of a win-win. So, all right, calls for 3 pounds of meat, 3 eggs. And again, I've never made this before, so I'm gonna go straight off the recipe for it. I'm sure it will be fine. All right, so 3 eggs in there with the meat. And then we need 3/4 cups breadcrumb. Okay. I'm just gonna spread that around there, nice. And 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, grated. This one's never been opened before, so take that off of there. All right, 3/4 cup of that. Whoa, got out of hand there a little bit, didn't it? All right. And then we need 3/4 cup of onion, which earlier I used my big food processor. Now I got my small one out. I use this when I was doing my salad because it really gets that onion like really, really fine, which is great. So get a spoon here. So I spent a lot of time in the kitchen today. Usually I spend about 30 minutes in the kitchen to do like a crock pot meal, and then I am off running around. I spent a lot more time today in the kitchen because there were some things that I wanted to make that I've never made before, like the cheesecake and the meatballs, and I wanted to get some salad done. So I just had a lot on my agenda today, and I guess that's how it works. Some days it's real quick and easy, and some days it's a little longer. But I enjoy being in here, so it's not a big deal. So that should be enough onion if I am calculating this correctly. Yeah, it's actually a little bit extra, but you know what? That's okay. So 3/4 cup onion, put that in there. And last but not least is garlic. It says 6 teaspoons. I don't know what that means. I'm just gonna throw a couple cloves in and let it be. So that's all the ingredients. Now, of course, you know, what are we going to do? We're going to have to mix this all up with our hands, get dirty, and make balls. I'm also making some frozen fish fillets for my father-in-law because he does not care for meatballs. And got to think about everybody when you're making dinner, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all up, get a nice consistency going. I've not made meatballs by hand. I usually buy this really good frozen brand and just throw them in the oven for 20 minutes. Then throw them in some marinara sauce on the skillet, on the stove, and call it a day. But I don't know why. I've tried a lot of things this week that I've never made before, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. So, all right, so that's nice and mixed, and we are going to make some balls. I'm just gonna spray, I already pre-foiled a pan. I'm gonna spray it with some Pam, just so nothing sticks. I got my oven going on 425 right now, and I'm gonna make balls. So, it says to make them like 1.5 or inches wide or something like that. I don't really, not gonna sit here and measure anything. If they were for meatballs just for spaghetti, I'd make them kind of big, because I like big meatballs for my spaghetti, but since they are actually going to be for meatball subs, you gotta be a little bit more realistic on the sizing. So, and I do know meat will shrink when you make it, so I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger than they probably need to be, and literally just see what happens. So once I'm done with this, I will put them in the oven. They're gonna be in the oven for about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little longer than that. Then I'm gonna take them out of the oven, and I'm gonna put them right into a pot on the stove, and I'm gonna add my sauce, which is right there. Classico is what I use for anything I need sauce for. I used it for my Lazy Boy lasagna just the other day. And these look a little bit bigger than they probably need to be, but I'm assuming they're gonna shrink when I put them in the oven. So if not, we'll just have open face meatball subs, and no one will probably say a word about it. The cheesecake looked really good, smelled great. So hoping that's a hit. And yeah, so I'm also showing these videos on a different site. It's called KAHL. I can't pronounce that yet, but they show videos of all sorts of different cooking, all sorts of types of cooking too, you know, Asian cooking, Middle Eastern cooking, Chinese, everything, like any kind of nationality you want, you go to that website, kahl.com, and you're gonna find it there. I just got involved in that. They reached out to me maybe a week or so ago. I've sent like 2 or 3 videos over. The last one I sent over, I think, is on their actual homepage, if you're seeing this today, which I think is the 20th of April. So anyway, great site. So far so good. It's just another way to reach out to people who may want to watch my videos and see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna finish this off. I'm gonna put it in the oven, and then I will come back and show you what they look like when they're done. I'm gonna use the Classico tomato and basil pasta sauce. I use it for lots of different cooking. I love it, it's really good. So I'm gonna use just a fork to get them in, a big fork, and then I'm gonna get a little fork to take them off. So I'm gonna put some in. Turned out really well too. A little bigger than I thought they would be, but that's okay. We can always cut them in half for the subs, and you can never have too big of meatballs for spaghetti, right? So we're good. I'm just gonna cover the bottom there. Open up a jar of sauce. Do another jar here. I think go 3 jars total. Should be plenty. So we got 2 in there. Put the rest of these meatballs in. The pitter patter of little feet that you hear now is my dog Gibbs checking out what may or may not fall off the stove for him. And Cookie, my other dog, just joined in the fray too. So it's funny how you always get an audience when you're cooking, but that's part of the family fun, right? So, all right, so they're all in there now. Gonna put this last jar sauce on top, and then it's gonna cook for 10 minutes, maybe 15, and then we'll be ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep an eye on these. I'm just gonna put them on like a medium-ish heat, keep an eye on them. And then when they are done, we'll make the final plate, which is just to be a meatball sub. I think I might throw some french fries in now that I'm thinking about it to make it more of a meal. But yeah, we're good to go. I'll see you here in a few minutes with the final product. Okay, it's presentation time, everybody. So I'm just gonna show the meatball sub. Obviously, no one needs to see me make french fries. But the meatballs turned out a little bit bigger than I thought they would, so I cut them in half. They were like the perfect size for spaghetti and meatballs, and maybe just a little bit big for meatball subs. So I made the meatball sub, boom, boom. Gonna do a little cheese on this, then I'll show you what we got. And there you have it, homemade meatball sub, little mozzarella cheese on that. Throw a little fries over with that. And that's it, so we're gonna eat, and I am going to wait about an hour or so, bring out the dessert. We will unveil the cheesecake. I'm excited to see how that looks. But we're gonna go ahead and eat these meatball subs, some french fries, have a little family time. Hey everybody, welcome back. Final part of the video, we are going to see how this cheesecake turned out. I've been thinking about it for a while now. I'm really hoping it's gonna be good. If you've never used one of these before, you just wanna unhook the side, it's gonna release it. And then you're gonna pull that out ever so gently. And there we go. Look at that. That is a beautiful cheesecake. So we're gonna cut a piece and see how it tastes. See how the crust hold up, because I've never done this before, so I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna be, but I think it's gonna be good. Okay. All right, so I didn't get under enough to get all the crust out of there, so we'll do another piece. But let's have my daughter taste test this for us. Come here, Caitlin. Give us a bite. This is my daughter, Caitlin. She's gonna be our taste tester. See how it goes. Good? Good? All right. Let me try. Let me get a fork. Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
And I usually don't like cookies and cream, so.
Oreo, no bake, cheesecake, delicious. So, an all day activity, but it's been a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Come back and check out my next video.